Business travel is picking up, however, again, and one part of planning your next trip may have just become easier. After months of research, CNBC.com released a ranking today of the best hotels for business travellers in the Asia-Pac region. CNBC's travel editor, Monica Petrelli, is here to tell us more. Good morning, Monica.
Good morning. Yeah, that's right. As you mentioned with Japan, there's some things that we really can't do. We can't deal with travel right now. Things like the lingering restrictions, delays. But CNBC Travel, we realized there was something we could do to help out our readers, and that was to make finding a solid choice for a business hotel as easy as possible. So we really started this process over a year ago, and that was when we partnered with the market research firm Statista. Now, this was a really important part of the process because we wanted to find somebody that cared as much as we did about producing a list that was really well researched and thorough. And so we knew if we were going to spend the time to do this, we wanted to do it correctly. And so we started with posting a survey on CNBC.com. That was last May. It was up for about a month. And we asked business travelers, tell us about your favorite hotels, but also tell us about the things that you care about when you're traveling these days. Then we turned to the hotels. We looked at more than 10,000 hotels, 4 and 5 stars only, to see if they had the type of things that the business travelers told us they cared about. We're talking gyms, great restaurants, coffee makers in the room. And then we turn to the traveler reviews. So if you've taken any business trips lately or even leisure trips, you've probably looked at a review or two to see what those that came before you thought. We've really done that research for our readers. And we didn't just look at one website. We looked at Expedia, Booking.com, Google, and many more. So once the results were tallied, the top 5 hotels in each destination were named to our ranking. Now, I'm going to throw out a couple of more numbers here to show you how serious that we took this process. In the end, over 1 million data points were analyzed. Over 117 destinations were looked into. 47 of those are right here in Asia Pacific. Those are the results that we released today. Now, the remaining 70 are in Europe and the Middle East, and those are due to be published next month.
Does this tell you then that business travellers want to stay at a hotel that has good events facilities as well? And does that imply that events, FaceTime, face-to-face meetings, networking, conferences, that is back as well?
Yes, we are finding that. So choosing the event space is really important for the people that are hosting the event. And then if you're attending, you might not get so much of a choice whether you attend there. But those event spaces are key for anyone that wants to bring in hundreds, thousands of people at once. But another interesting thing that we found, and the reason why we didn't call this the best business hotels, is because these aren't necessarily business hotels per se. What business travelers want these days is also really similar to what leisure travelers want. There's obviously a big push for work-life balance. And so a business traveler may be just as inclined to take a break in the middle of the day, to hit the pool, to hit the spa. And they told us that those things are important.
Yeah, Monica, run us through the list of hotels that made it to the best list.
Sure. Yeah, let's name some names. So if we start here close to home, the Four Seasons Hotel took home the top prize here in Singapore. In Kuala Lumpur, it was the Sofitel Damansara. In Melbourne, the Como M Gallery. And Jakarta, the Ritz-Carlton Pacific Place. Now in India, the Leela Hotel brand was ranked #1 in 2 major cities. That was both Mumbai and New Delhi. In China, Kerry Hotels did really well in CNBC's ranking. Now, these Kerry Hotels are part of the Shangri-La family. There's only 3 in the world right now, but 2 of them ranked #1, and both in highly competitive cities. That was Beijing and Hong Kong.
Wow, that's quite an accolade, huh? Okay, listen, Monica, stay right there. Let's bring in Subin Dharman, who's general manager of the Ritz-Carlton Jakarta at Pacific Place. He joins us live from up in Bangkok, where he is for a manager's meeting, if I'm not mistaken. Subin, great to see you. Appreciate your time. And of course, congratulations. Did this accolade getting in that winner's list, did it surprise you at all?
Very good morning, and thank you for the great accolade. Yes and no. As you know, the Ritz-Carlton, we take a lot of pride in customer service, and one thing that we're known for is a legendary Ritz-Carlton service, and that's what we do day in and day out. So yes and no.
Subin, we just posted our results about 20 minutes ago on our website. And so if you go to the story, there's actually a link that links to the broader results as well as all the scoring. And so I'm thinking that you probably don't realize that your hotel actually, yes, you were ranked #1 in Jakarta, but actually scoring-wise, you came out #1 for all hotels in Asia Pacific. So I would like to ask you, what's your secret that you're doing there in Jakarta? What are you doing that's proving to be so popular with business travelers?
Yeah. See, the one thing that we focus on at the Ritz-Carlton is our culture. And I always say that, culture is our business strategy. What I mean by that is, providing genuine care to our guests, as well as our ladies and gentlemen who look after our guests. Even through the pandemic, right, is a great example that our biggest focus and strategy was really to look after our ladies and gentlemen. We didn't have any layoffs, right? We had, but we had some voluntary options, which some of the ladies and gentlemen took. But more importantly, we shared the pain that we had, and was predominantly absorbed by the leaders like myself and my executive team, and the line ladies and gentlemen were not affected. And we focus a lot on the Ritz-Carlton Gold standards, which is really to provide genuine care, as I said. Yeah.
Subin, the problem now on the horizon is that pent-up demand in business and in leisure, that is threatening to collide with a global slowdown / entrenched inflation. Is there any evidence in terms of forward bookings of a moderation or a pullback?
Yeah. So, as you rightly said, there's a lot of pent-up demand. Corporate travel, which requires in-person meetings, are back. And, from a Marriott perspective, from a Ritz-Carlton perspective, my hotel perspective, the bookings are far out, right? And we see there's a lot of demand. In terms of the next 3 to 6 months, we are actually ahead in pace over 19. So for us, it's solid, at least in the Jakarta region.
Hey, Subin, Martin here. Let me quickly jump in with a question. I mean, after what hotels, including yours, have been through the last 2-3 years or so, you've got demand coming back, people can travel again, etc. So, for a lot of folks who are on this path, business travelers, they're kind of spoiled for choice. At the same time, though, for you guys, you need to try and make up lost time and also lost ground. And it's a very competitive market. It's getting very expensive as well. So what I'm trying to get at is, for business travelers, what do you think is your hotel, the Ritz-Carlton Jakarta Pacific Place, what differentiates you from others? Is it simply, look, you focus on the basics, the core, but you're just able to execute better? Or is it some other secret sauce? What is it?
So for us, a couple of things, right? Number one is we are an all-club hotel, so that helps us because the entire food and beverage offering is provided within the hotel. It's inclusive of the room rate. And secondly, the personalization. We personalize each guest stay, from pre-arrival, during the guest stay, to all the way through checkout. So that is I think one of our secret sauces. Yeah.
Yeah, Subin, I wanted to ask you, our business travelers in our survey indicated that seamless tech is very important to them. They want to arrive in their hotel, plug in their devices, and go. Now, a couple of years ago, a big selling point for hotels was the iPod docking station. Now, please somebody show me your iPod. How is it? This can be very frustrating for consumers that buy a piece of equipment just to see it go the way of the dinosaurs in a couple of years. But what about hotels? You would buy hundreds, potentially thousands, tens of thousands of devices to deal with the latest tech devices just to see it change rapidly. How do major hotel brands deal with this?
So we do have technology in the hotel. But having said that, right now with the Marriott Bonvoy app that we have, so we have integrated everything into the Marriott Bonvoy software, which we can keep updating. So regardless of the hardware, our software technology is getting updated on a regular basis. So that's how we deal with it.